Obrigada.
Obrigada, Jace. So today we're going to talk about the chapter 147 called A Challenge. This is in the book The Way, the Truth, and the Life from the collection Living Springs from Emmanuel. So the verse that we will be studying tonight is in Acts 20, chapter 22, verse 16. And it says, well, what are you waiting for? So Emmanuel continues. This is basically Paul talking just before he was sent into prison. And it makes us kind of do a deep reflection in terms of our choices, our everyday choices in the midst of all the challenges that we have. So in telling the crowd about his unforgettable experience at the gates of Damascus, the apostle to the Gentiles says that due to his perplexity, Ananias asked him in the form of a fraternal warning, well, what are you waiting for? Such a question deserves to be pondered by all of those who have received invitations, appeals, blessings, or help from the spirit world. So if we stop a little bit and just think about the entrance of Damascus, where Paul basically falls from his horse as he sees Jesus, and he becomes blind just for a couple of days with the light from Jesus. Jesus shows up to Ananias and tells Ananias to take care of him. And then Ananias is shocked, like, but this man came to kill me and you want me to go and take care of him? Are you kidding me? And then says, yes, you're okay. I'm with you. Go and take care of him. So with all that is happening, we have two men, one that was going to kill all the Christians, and Ananias that was a real Christian. And at this point, when Paul is not blind anymore, Ananias asked the question, so what are you waiting for to make a change, to do something, right? With this call that Jesus is basically showing up in front of you and asking you why you're coming after me. So such a question deserves to be pondered by all of those who have received invitations, appeals, blessings, or help from the spirit world. And who among us can say that we have never received a blessing? The blessing can be a friend that basically gives us a comforting word at some point. The blessing can be a job that pops up in the moment that we need money. It can be a phone call from someone distant that we thought had forgotten about us. It can be a book. And then we read exactly that message that we needed for that week. And how many times we felt like that message came like from 3 different people. And we're like, I can't believe that I'm hearing this again. I've never heard this before. And suddenly this week I heard it 5 times. What does that come from? Well, it comes from someone who really cares about you. Innumerable beneficiaries of the gospel are attached to all kinds of obstacles in the nebulous province of complaining. And this is also so easy. Oh, my body hurts. Oh, my boss is hurt. Oh, my husband or my wife or my kids. Life is so difficult. Oh, this COVID. I mean, it's here again. And it's still lingering because I have the sequel. I mean, we can find all types of complaints that we want since we wake up. If they have been blessed by the light of faith, they lament not having found the truth in their youth or in the days of plenty. Oh, if I knew this when I was 20 years old. Oh, if I came from a family that has taught me, religious values or something like that. Or if I had a family, because many of us didn't even have a family, right? However, in adulthood or in times of material difficulties, they hang on to the same inferior tendencies that used to mark their lives when they were still ignorant. So today, Anna, at age of 52, is not the same Anna of 20. So when I was 20, I made mistakes that right now I know better. I cannot make the same mistakes. And some of those mistakes can be pretty serious. And then we may carry like a guilt because of that mistake. For example, I had an abortion when I was 17. Maybe I'm 50 now, and I feel guilty because I killed a child when I was at 17. But instead of hanging on that guilt, the question that I need to ask is, what can I do today? With that Anna at 52, would I have an abortion today? No. At that time, that seemed to be the only way out. So right now, what I can do, is it okay to carry the guilt and feel like I'm the most horrible person in the world? No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That doesn't help at all. What helps is, okay, maybe I can work with other young mothers, pregnant women, who are going through the same difficulties that I went through. Or maybe the kids who do not have a place to go or stay. By doing that, I'm giving love instead of being attached to my guilt or going back to the same mistakes. Their words always express goodwill, but when they are called on to actually do something, they immediately complain about the lack of money, lack of health, lack of time, or strength. Oh, Leticia, I really want to help you, but you know what? I'm so busy. I have 2 kids and my job is just so hard. And, we are so short in money right now and blah, 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 blah. We will always find a reason not to help, not to change. And I would say that for me, it's even find a reason not to exercise too. To do things that are good for us as well. Or to eat right. Because we need to think that we need to take care of our bodies as we need to take care of our spirits, right? So I know that I should not be drinking, but I'm so tired. I deserve this glass of wine. I deserve this beer because today was a tough day. But I know that's not going to do good for me, not good for my liver, for whatever reason. It is easier to complain. Why? Because expressing goodwill and living that goodwill require us to find time, to really dig time, carve time in our busy schedule. Because we're all busy. We all have our responsibilities inside and outside our life, our families. So we are always going to have this conflict of where I'm going to spend my time. Unless I allocate that time for something, it's not going to happen. They are conflicted workers for when they experience organic deletion, they demand rest. But in times of physical illness, they say they miss work. It is crucial to combat these destructive expressions of personality. So when we when we see Emmanuel putting these words, and we know that he doesn't sweeten the pill at all. He says always like it is. And he's not pointing fingers to you or you or you. No, he's talking about us, humankind, right? Because all of us can see ourselves in this lesson. How many times did you find excuses not to do something that you knew that you were supposed to do? That was the right thing to do. That inside your conscience, you knew that you could. And then he's giving the clear message. It's crucial, it is critical, it's necessary to fight these destructive expressions of personality. This is our ego talking. The words of Joana de Angelis, not the self. So it's me just thinking about the immediate, the today, instead of looking at myself as an eternal spirit. So Emmanuel continues, in any situation and at any time, we are surrounded by opportunities to serve the Savior. He doesn't say work, he says serve, which is very different. Because many times we go to work, but we are not serving. To serve is to give from the heart, is to be fully present, is to have a smile, is to feel fulfilled. The servant sees the other, the work, as a blessing and not checking a box. It is to all of us who have received the divine blessings in 1,000 different ways. I'm going to repeat this piece. Is to all of us who have received the divine blessings in 1,000 different ways that the sublime challenge is issued. Well, what are you waiting for? And one may think, okay, so I didn't see this 1,000 different ways of blessings around me. So then we are talking about another problem, right? During the lecture from Daniel Assisi, he talked about the spiritual blessings. So we need to put that, because how many small blessings do we receive every day that we forget to be grateful? And because we are not grateful, we become greedy and unhappy, and we feel lonely, and we want to complain more. So the story of counting our blessings every night and remembering at least 3 blessings. And the blessing can be, okay, today I had an ice cream, or today I was able to have a jacket because it was cold. Sometimes it's hard to remember the blessing because the day or the moment that we are living is so hard that you go, okay, I'm not seeing any blessing at all. How do I count it here? So let's go really low. I have water. I have a bathroom when so many people don't. I have lungs that I can breathe. I am alive. And we know that being alive is the biggest, the largest blessing that one can have, because there is a long line of spirits wanting to reincarnate and they can't because there are not enough bellies. So every time that I don't realize these blessings, I am diminishing the opportunity of growth and happiness and not seeing the blessing of time, not answering the question with the right answer about, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to change? What are you waiting for to help? What are you waiting for to be happy? Because nobody's going to make us happy. Nobody has the power to make us happy. We are the only ones who can do that. Because we may have everything. And this is in the gospel according to Spiritism. I can have the youth, the beauty, the power, the money, the everything, and still be unhappy. If this was the secret sauce for happiness, everybody who lives in Hollywood will live in heaven. And that's not the case. Why? Because the happiness comes from within, right? So Emmanuel is always able to get like one verse, a handful of words, and translate those words from the New Testament and sometimes from the Old Testament in the whole chapter. We know that Emmanuel was the guardian angel for Chico Xavier, so he's very special to us. And he's a very evolved spirit. And he's the one that stayed with Jesus, that could have stopped the crucifixion, and he didn't. So imagine you knowing now what you did 2,000 years ago, that you could have stopped the crucifixion of the Savior of the whole planet, the CEO of planet Earth. Could he be stuck on the guilt? Yes, he could. Interesting enough is that Emmanuel shows up when the mediums see him. He shows up with the clothes that he had as a senator at the time of Jesus. Why? Because he incarnated as a slaver. He incarnated as a priest. He had many incarnations after that. So why does he come as a senator instead of a slave? Why? Because he wants to remind himself of the embarrassment, so he doesn't make the same mistake. Isn't that profound? Because everybody who knows his story and looks at him as with that white tunic and think, oh, that's them. No, that guy could have saved Jesus. So he doesn't make the same mistake. And that serves us very well into this lesson today, because he's calling our responsibility to act now. As I said, if we do not only identify the blessings we receive, we need to start paying attention to them. Every time I turn on the faucet, every time I take a shower, every time I have a jacket and it's cold, or a bed to sleep, or a roof over my head, or a family, or a friend, or a book, or a spiritist to basically give us the light so we can repurpose our choices, that we can rethink our actions, so we can become less selfish, less self-centric in a world that needs people that are giving, that are loving. The world is suffering, and the only way that we will be happy is when nobody's suffering anymore, because we're all connected. We had that example during COVID, that COVID started in China, and suddenly here we didn't have toilet paper. How is that even possible, right? So we see that everything is connected. That remember to give back and pay it forward. Why I'm saying that? Because every time we give, we forget about our pain. When we are giving, we are looking after someone who needs more than us. And that on itself is a blessing. Because if I am in a position to give, that already puts me in a special place. And sometimes I think, okay, I'm always the one who is giving. Lucky you. Because it's easier to give than to receive sometimes. It's hard when we need to ask for help. And it's so easy to think, like, if you cannot take a shower by yourself, do you prefer helping someone to take a shower or asking for the help of taking a shower? So what is my role in this community or in my family? Because sometimes I'm the one who is always having patience. I'm always the one who is giving forgiveness or saying, okay, let's move on. Why is that? Because sometimes today, that person who is testing my patience over and over and over is the one that I hurt deeply in the past life. So I owe that person, partner, spouse, son, mother, father, that extra amount of love. So if we only look for right now, this, 10 minutes of life on earth, this round, we may say, oh, I'm tired. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I've been patient with you for 15 years. I'm done. And it's very easy to think that when you have teenagers, right? Because you love them when they are 5 and then they're 15, you go like, oh my goodness, can I return them? So no, you can't. We cannot return. And that's when we need to love more. Remembering that the people who are in the closest grounds under the same roof are the ones that we owe a larger quantity of love and patience and forgiveness. So it's our responsibility to mend those relationships. So if I have not talked to my father or to my mother for the past 5 years, call them. It's easier now than after. André Luis says this. Jesus told us, if you have a problem, if you have an enemy, go and fix it now, because it's going to get worse. We had an example with my son who was supposed to do something 1 year ago, and he didn't. And last night, my husband had a heart-to-heart with him in a very nice way, and basically said, okay, we're changing the rules. And this past year, I basically coached him, Tiago, you need to do this. Tiago, you need to do this. Tiago, you need to do this. And I am escalation 1, right? My husband is escalation level 2. So when he reaches the escalation level 2, it's more complicated. And I thought that was very interesting, the life lesson that he got, because my husband told him, I expected you to come to me and fix this. And you had a long time to do that. And my husband knew that. I talked to him. My son's answer was, I was embarrassed because it took so long. I didn't even know how to start. And the life lesson that my husband gave to him is that, well, so what you're learning here is that the longer you wait, the worse it gets. And sometimes we keep procrastinating that action, that we know that is right, that it's inside. We have all the justifications. He was an abusive father, abusive mother, disrespectful son. You may have that. And we are not saying to come and hold and kiss and be like, perfect. Nobody's saying that. We're just saying, okay, just put the sword down, like Jesus said, and put peace into this, to say, okay, with me, I'm peace with you. It doesn't matter what happened. For me, I'm peace. And it's not for the other person, because the other person may continue to do lots of, crazy things. This is peace for us. That's for us, not for the other person. So we talked about this, about all the blessings that if we do not know that we are supported by the divine 24/7 after reading the gospel according to Spiritism. So we need to read it again. Because we are all surrounded by invisible friends, that all the asks that we do, they all are answered. Jesus said that. You just ask and you'll be heard. You knock, the door will be open. The problem is when we choose to knock on the wrong doors or ask for the wrong things, then we suffer. But there are lots of invitations from divine every day. First, to exercise fraternity. First, to do good to others. To get out of our comfort zone. and help, right? Step up. So Emmanuel continues. If they have been blessed by the light of faith, even if it's a very tiny light, like in our case, smaller than a candle, they lament not having found the truth in their youth or in the days of plenty. However, in adulthood or in times of material difficulties, they hang on to the same inferior tendencies that used to mark their lives when they were still ignorant. So let's go back to example of Saul, then Paul. He didn't continue to make the same mistakes that he was making before Jesus, after Jesus. So he changed his direction, said, oh, okay, I'm going the wrong direction. I should not be killing the Christians. That's not okay. Jesus is the good guy. So I'm going to go. He goes to the desert for 3 years. And this desert is very important. The meaning of the desert is really looking inside, within. It's the exercise, it's the work in reshaping our values. Because suddenly Saul was not Saul anymore. So Jesus is this. I'm not saying that each one of us are like Saul. I wish we're not there yet. But we have that invitation to change many times. When we fall from our horses and we get blind. How many times do we feel that in life? That we have always felt, or some of us have the scars or the bruises of terrible pains that we went through somehow. This is the time that we fell from our horse, that our pride was just ripped, that our pain was so big that we felt like we lost everything, which Saul did, right? He lost family, he lost lives, the power, title, money, everything. So in this encounter, what did we do after that? Many of us like to complain. Oh, it's so good to complain. And then I think the older we get, the more we talk about illnesses, right? Oh, this hurts. Oh, my arthritis. Oh, my head, my migraine, my whatever. Let's release that. Why do we do that? Why do we prefer to talk about bad things instead of the good things? Every time we start complaining, we're multiplying the problems. It's like we are fertilizing them. We do not get good things doing bad. Then Emmanuel says, their words always express goodwill, but when they are called out to actually do something, they immediately complain about lack of money, health, time, or strength. So he's basically coming to us with the invitation and say, zip it. Do it. He's very clear. No matter where you are you in the desert? Deal with it. What can you do now? This is the way that we are showing our experience. We are showing how we are learning through the experiences, that we are basically breaking those patterns that basically brought us to where we are. If we are not happy with the situation, we need to change. The only way to have different results is if I change the way I'm doing things. When we are here in Oregon, we have the days of snow and everybody complains, oh, it's snowing. The roads are blocked. I cannot go to work. The kids are at home. I cannot work because the kids are making noise. And if it's hot, it's too hot. I cannot take this anymore. It's too hot. And the point here is that what do we have for today? Let's deal one day at a time, right? We will not change others. We will not change the weather. We will not change the boss. The only thing we can do is change ourselves. But the magic thing is that as we change inside, the world changes outside of us because we changed our classes. They are conflicted workers from when they experience organic equilibrium, they demand rest. But in times of physical illness, they say they miss working. It is crucial to combat these destructive expressions of the personality. So he's talking about the ego again when he's saying it is crucial to combat the destructive expressions of personality. This behavior of always seeing the half-empty glass will not make us any good. It's like us drinking poison all the time. So going back to Ananias, if not now, when? What are we going to do now? With yourself, with your health, with your relationships, with your family, in your community. We know that stagnated water is poisonous for anyone to drink. And we are receiving this vast amount of spring water coming from the divine. All these blessings that surround us all the time. So we can be fruitful if we want to. Now, with what we have. So when we are facing our life lessons, the hardships, the illnesses, the material losses, the emotional losses, when we're facing anxiety, depression, like the mental health issue that so many of us are facing, let's not dwell in the past, but look at today's opportunity to serve. Let's reflect on how this experience is aiming to change me. What do I need to do today? What would Jesus tell me? What he would say? In any situation and at any time, we are surrounded by opportunities to serve the Savior. It is to all of us who have received the divine blessings in 1,000 different ways that the sublime challenge is issued. Well, what are you waiting for? We are here. We are looking for inner peace, for joy. Otherwise, we'll be home in our PJs, watching TV, having dinner, sleeping. No, we are here. We came because we knew that we would receive blessings. But can we step up to this challenge and ask ourselves, so what now? Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our virtual Passe, and I invite you all at home to have a bottle of water, because this water can be magnetized, blessed by the superior spirits. Let's close our eyes, taking a deep breath. This is our opportunity to talk with our Father, who is always available for us, actually. We are here today, now, at His house. And we say, thank you, Father. for all the thousands of blessings that we have received. Sorry, we have been blinded and we do not see them many times. We miss your voice, your hands, your workers. Sometimes we misunderstand the opportunities. Oh, dear Father, give us strength. Help us see. Help us seek our own cure, not the cure of our bodies, the cure of our souls. Help us become better people. Help us find a way back to your house. Dear Father, this moment that we are all going through so many challenges, help us see the opportunity of growth, of change. Help us learn the lesson so we do not have to repeat it again and again. Help us be the ones who give love instead of hate, who always have a word of comfort instead of guilt or attack. May the people around us recognize you through our actions, through our eyes. Bless our homes, our family members. Bless especially those who do not understand us. Help us mend all the relationships that we were supposed to mend this life. Help us take the opportunity of being here now, today, and do the best we can so we can come back feeling that we did it all with no embarrassment, with no shame. We ask you to bless this center so little bit, but with a big heart. May all the benefactors at this time lay their hands on us, providing us with all the energy, the support that we need to have a peaceful week, being protected and supported. So be it. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry about my mistake at the beginning, not recording. I wish you all a good night.